All right, next, we're going to write the equation of a line that's going to go through 2 points. So I didn't give you the slope as m equals. I'm giving you 2 points, so you want to do a little extra work. You're going to have to find the slope. The slope formula says that you're going to subtract your y's over your x's, okay? Now, I do the first points first, but you also, because my labs will show that you can do the second points first. They will give you the exact same answer, okay? But it's only the difference of the y's over the difference of your x's. So you're going to find your slope, watch your signs. So my y numbers would be 3 minus 4 on top. The x numbers would be -1 minus 3 on the bottom. So that will give me a -1 on top and a -4 on bottom. And that will reduce to a +1/4. So the slope between these 2 points is 1/4. Now, what you just did was you just found m. You still don't have a b. So we had to do a little extra work to get my m. Now, we're going to do what we did on the previous 7 problems. We're going to plug it in to find my b. Now, you got a choice of point. It doesn't matter if you use this point or if you use this point. They're on the same line. So they will produce the same b. So it does not matter. If you want to keep it all positive numbers, we'll use the second point. It does not matter which point you use, okay? So to find b, we're going to still do y equals mx plus b, and we'll use the second point since both numbers are positive. We're going to say my y is 4. The m I just found is 1/4. The x is going to be 3, and I'm going to place it over 1 plus b. So I'm going to multiply 4 equals, that's going to give me 3/4 plus b. And as you see, that fraction does not reduce. So I'm going to subtract 3/4 from 4. And so that would give me 16 minus 3. That would be a 13/4 as my b. Okay? Like I said, you can type that in the calculator. 4 minus 3/4. So my equation is y equals, my m is 1/4 x. The b I just found is a +13/4. And that would be my equation. Okay. Example 9. Write the equation of a line that's going to go through the point 8, -1, and 4, 3. Okay? Still 2 points. So you're going to have to find that slope. And again, that's going to be the subtraction of your y's over your x's. So this being xy, xy. So on top, you're going to say -1 minus 3. Those are your y numbers. On the bottom, your x numbers would be 8 minus 4. So -1 minus 3 is a -4 over +4, which will reduce to a -1. So the m for these 2 points, my slope is -1. Okay? So now I need a b. We need to find b. So you pick a point. It does not matter. Since I used the second one on the last example, I'm going to use the first one. They will produce the exact same b. So my y this time will be -1. My m we found is negative 1. My x is 8 plus b. So I have negative 1 equals negative 8 plus b. So I'm going to add 8. So b equals negative 1 plus 8 is a positive 7. So my equation is y equals negative 1x plus 7. Or you can just write y equals negative x plus 7. Because that does mean I understood negative 1. Example 10. We're going to write the equation of a line that's going through the point 3, negative 2. And the double line slanted represents the word parallel to 2x minus y equals 5. Now, this is really expanding our thinking skills. Now, I wanted you to write the equation of a line that's going to contain this point. It's going to hit this point. But it's going to be parallel to that whole line. That's an equation of a line itself. Now, parallel lines mean that they run the same way. They look the same. They move the same. But parallel lines will never cross. They'll never touch. They'll never intersect. So in order for lines to move the same, they must have the same slope. So I gave you that line for you to find the slope. That's it. You just need to see what's the slope of this line. So you can use it for this point to find its actual b. Okay? You're not plugging into this. I'm just going to find the slope. Now you can find the slope one or two ways. You can solve for y and put this in slope-intercept form. Or you can do the slope formula for standard form. This is standard form. AX plus BY equals C. So when you're in standard form and you want to find the slope, we do something called minus A over B. Short little formula, minus A over B. Because standard form is AX plus BY equals C. So A is always going to be the number that's on X, and B is the number that's on your Y. And the minus A over B means make sure you do the opposite sign. So if I were to plug in minus the A number, that would be minus 2 or negative 2 over whatever your B number is. Well, my B number is a negative 1. If you reduce that, wouldn't that just be positive 2? So the slope of that line is 2. That's the slope of that line. So parallel means I want to use the exact same slope. So a parallel slope would also be 2. Now, all we've talked about is slope. We still got to find B. So you're going to take your point. That line is useless. Honestly, you can mark it out. We don't need it no more. Now you're going to take your point, and we know that our slope's got to be the same. So our M will also be 2. But we're going to plug it into y equals mx plus b like we've been doing on the previous 9 problems and find our b. So my y is a negative 2. The parallel slope is 2. The x is 3. And we're solving for b. So negative 2 will equal 2 times 3 is 6 plus b. Get b by itself. You're going to subtract 6. Negative 2 minus 6 is a negative 8. So this line is going to cross at negative 8. So the equation would be y equals, my slope is 2x, my y-intercept is minus 8. That would be my equation. Of the line that's going to hit this point, but it's parallel to that line. It moves like that line. So they have the same slope. Remember that parallel lines have the exact same M, the exact same slope. So we're going to write the equation of a line that's going to go through the point -1, 4, and it's parallel to x plus 3y equals 5. Again, parallel means I want to be just like that line. I want to move like that line. So what's the slope of that line? Well, we're going to do minus a over b. So that would be a minus 1 over 3. Because keep in mind, in standard form, a represents the number on x, b represents the number that's on y. So that would be a minus or -1 over 3. So parallel means use the same slope. That would be a -1/3. Now, that line now is useless. Mark it out because I don't want you plugging into it. We're going to continue to plug into y equals mx plus b, and we're going to find our b. So my y number is 4. Our m is -1/3. The x number is a -1 plus b. So we got 4 equals, 2 negatives make a positive 1/3 plus b. So our b will be in fraction form because this does not reduce to a whole number. So you're going to subtract 1/3 from 4. And that will give us an 11 over 3. And again, you can do that in the calculator. 11 over 3. So our equation will be y equals -1/3 x plus 11/3. Write the equation of a line that's going to go through the point 1, 6. Now that symbol represents perpendicular to 3x plus 5y equals 1. Now, parallel lines look the same. Same slope. Perpendicular lines cross. They intersect, okay? They're going to actually cross. So what you need to know about the slope of that line is that the slope that you're going to use in y equals mx plus b is going to be the opposite reciprocal. Opposite means change the sign. Reciprocal means to flip it. So I still need to know the slope. So the slope of this line is -3 over 5. That's his slope. That's the minus a over b. Okay? Now, perpendicular does not mean use the same. That's parallel. Perpendicular means if he's negative, I got to have a positive. If he would have been positive, I would do a negative. You got to do opposite signs. And then you're going to flip it, reciprocal. So I would have a positive 5 over 3. That's the slope I'm using. That's the slope of the line that I got to find. Perpendicular means opposite sign, negative, positive. And flip it. 3 over 5, I'm going to do 5 over 3. Now, again, that line is useless. We're going to take our point, Plug it into y equals mx plus b. Our y is 6. Our m is 5 over 3. You're using the perpendicular m. Our x is 1 plus b. So we're going to multiply, and you know that's just going to be 5/3 if you multiply times 1. And so to get b by itself, you're going to subtract 5/3 from 6. And when we subtract, that will give me a 13 over 3. And again, you can do this in the calculator. So my equation would be y equals, my perpendicular slope is 5 over 3x plus 13 over 3. Write the equation of a line that's going through the point -2, 0, and it's perpendicular to 8x minus 3y equals 7. So again, I want to do perpendicular. So the slope of this line, if you do the minus a over b, will be minus 8 over -3, which will reduce to a positive 8/3. Now, that's the slope of that line. Perpendicular slope means do the opposite and flip it. So this slope ended up being positive. I need a negative. And if this 8 over 3, I'm doing 3 over 8. This is my perpendicular slope. And again, that line is now useless. Take your point, plug it into y equals mx plus b. Our y is 0. Our m is -3 over 8. Our x is -2 plus b. So we got 0 equals 2 negatives make a positive, 6 over 8. Now 6 over 8, you know, reduces. You can reduce that by 2. Which will give you a 3/4. And to get b by itself, you subtract 3/4. So our b is a -3/4. So our equation would be y equals, the perpendicular slope is -3 over 8x minus 3 over 4. Write the equation of a line that's going through the point -7, 8, and is parallel to y equals 2. Now, these are our special lines. Y equals 2 is a horizontal line. So if I want to do a parallel line to another horizontal line, then all you're going to do is give me the y of that point, which will be y equals 8. If I were to ask you to give me the equation of a line that's going through the point 9, 1, and is parallel to x equals 2. Well, x only line is a vertical line. That's a special line. So I want another vertical line. That just means give me the x point. That would be x equals 9. Okay? If I were to say write the equation of a line that's going through the point 5, -3, and is perpendicular to y equals 2. Perpendicular means they got to cross. Again, this is horizontal. So I need to go the other direction, which will be vertical. So that would be x equals 5. And lastly, if I were to give you, write the equation of a line that's going through the point, -4, +8, and it's perpendicular to x equals 2. That is a vertical line. So I need to cross it. That means I got to go horizontally, and that would be y equals 8. On the special ones, especially with the perpendiculars, you're not flipping any actual number and changing signs. You're actually, remember, you're flipping the slopes. So the slopes of our vertical lines, that's x, they are undefined. So I would need the same if I do parallel, another undefined slope. Our horizontal lines, the slope is 0. So I need the same, which will be another horizontal line, which will be y equals 8. So in other words, this just means on the perpendicular, give me the opposite. If I give you y, you give me the x. If I give you x, you got to give me the y. That's only with the y only and x only lines. These are our special lines if you're doing parallel and perpendicular. Parallel means the same. If I give y, you give me y. If I give you x, you got to give me the x. If I do the perpendicular, you do the opposite. If I ask for y, you got to give me the x coordinate. If I ask for x, you got to give me the y coordinate. This will conclude 2.5.